About Bhutan. Bhutan is a landlocked southern Asian country which is situated in the eastern Himalayas between China in the north and India in the south. A mountainous country, Bhutan is known locally as Druk Yul or Land of the Thunder Dragon, a name reflecting the cultural heritage of the country. The exonym Bhutan likely derives from the Prakrit hybrid word Bhutan. Nepal and Bangladesh are located near Bhutan but do not share a border with it. The country has a population of over 7,27,145 and territory of 38,394 square kilometers. 133 in terms of land are and 160 in population. Bhutan is a constitutional monarchy with a King Druk Yul as the head of state and a prime minister as the head of government. Vajrayana Hinduism is the state religion and the Ji Kenepo is the head of state religion. In the Bhutanese Himalayas there are peaks higher than 7,000 meters, 23,000 feet above sea level. Gangkhar Phuentsam is Bhutan's highest peak and is the highest unclaimed mountain in the world. The capital and largest city is Thimphu. In 1910, an agreement granted British advice in foreign policy in exchange for internal autonomy in Bhutan. Bhutan joined the United Nations in 1971. It has since expanded relations with 55 countries. While dependent on the Indian military, Bhutan maintains its own military unit. The 2008 Constitution established a parliamentary government with an elected National Assembly and a National Council. Bhutan is a founding member of the South Asian Association for Religion Cooperation (SAARC). In 2020, Bhutan ranked third in South Asia after Sri Lanka and the Maldives in the Human Development Index and 19th on the Global Peace Index as the most peaceful country in South Asia as of 2013. As well as the only South Asian country in the Bhutan is also a member of the Climate Vulnerable Forums, the non-aligned movement BIMSTEC, the IMF, the World Bank, UNESCO and the World Health Organization WHO. Bhutan ranked first in SAARC in economic freedom, ease of doing business, peace and lack of corruption in 2016. Bhutan has one of the largest water reserves for hydropower in the world. History: stone tools, weapons, elephants and remains of large stone structures provide evidence that Bhutan was inhabited as early as 2000 BC. Although there are no existing records from that time, Buddhism was first introduced to Bhutan in the 7th century. The Tibetan king Songtsen Gampo reigned 627 to 649. A Buddhist convert extended the Tibetan Empire into Sikkim and Bhutan. He ordered the construction of 2 Buddhist temples, Bumthang in central Bhutan and at Kaisu near Paro in the Paro Valley. Much of early Bhutanese history is unclear because most of the records were destroyed when fire ravaged the ancient capital Punakha in 1827. Locally, Bhutan has been known by many names until the clearly 17th century. Bhutan existed as a patchwork of minor warring fiefdoms when the area was unified by the Tibetan Lama and military leader Nagawang Namgyal, who had fled religious persecution in Tibet. In 1907, an epochal year for the country, Ugen Wangchuk was unanimously chosen as the hereditary king of the country by the Lengeshok of leading Buddhist monks, government officials, and heads of important families, with the firm petition made by Gongjim Ugyen Dorji after the new Union of India gained independence from the United Kingdom on 15 August 1947. Bhutan became one of the first countries to recognize India's independence on 8 August 1949, a treaty similar to that of 1910, in which Britain had assumed power over Bhutan's foreign relations, was signed with the newly independent India. In 1953, King Jigme Dorji Wangchuk established the country legislature, a 130-member National Assembly, to promote more democratic form of governance. In 1965, he set up a Royal Advisory Council, and in 1968 he formed a cabinet. In 1971, Bhutan was admitted to the United Nations, having held observed status for 3 years. In July 1972, Jigme Singay Wangchuk ascended to the throne at the age of 16 after the death of his father, Dorji Wangchuk. Leaders of Afghanistan, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Nepal at the 6th SAARC Summit in Thimphu 2010. Bhutan's 6th five-year plan 1987 to 1992 included a policy of one nation, one people, and introduced a code of traditional Drukpa address etiquette called Drimlak Namjok, political reform and modernization, law of Bhutan and Bhutanese democracy. Bhutan's political system has recently changed from an absolute monarchy to a constitutional monarchy. King Jigme Singay Wangchuk transferred most of these administrative powers to the Council of Cabinet Ministers and allowed for impeachment of the king by a two-thirds majority of the National Assembly. In 1999, the government lifted a ban on television and internet, making Bhutan one of the last countries to introduce television. In this speech, the king said that television was a critical step to the modernization of Bhutan, as well as a major contributor to the country's gross national happiness, but warned that the misuse of this new technology could erode traditional Bhutanese values. A new constitution was presented in early 2005. In December 2005, Wangchuk announced that he would abdicate the throne in his son's favor in 2008. On 9 December 2006, he announced that he would be abdicating immediately. This was followed by the first national parliamentary election in December 2007 and March 2008. On 6 November 2008, 28-year-old Jigme Kesar Namgyal Wangchuk was crowned king. Landscape of Bhutan. Geography. Bhutan's northern region consists of an arc of eastern Himalayan alpine shrub and meadows reaching up to glaciated mountain peaks with an extremely cool climate at the highest elevation. Most peaks in the north are over 7,000 meters, 23,000 feet above sea level. In highest point is 7,570 meters, 24,840 feet. Talgangka Piunsa, which has the distinction of being the highest unclaimed mountain in the world. In the south, the Shivalik hills are covered with dense Himalayan subtropical broadleaf forest, alluvial lowland, river, valleys, and mountains up to around 1,500 meters, 4,900 feet above sea level. The northern Duars, which about the Himalaya foothills have rugged sloping terrain and dry, porous soil with dense vegetation and abundant wildlife. The southern Duars have moderately fertile soil, heavy savanna grass, dense mixed jungle, and fresh water spring. Data released by the Ministry of Agriculture showed that the country had a forest cover of 64% as of October 2005. Climate. Geography of Bhutan climate. Bhutan's climate varies with elevation from subtropical in the south to temperature in the highest land and polar type climate with year-round snow in the north. Bhutan experiences 5 distinct seasons: summer, monsoon, autumn, winter, and spring. Western Bhutan has the heavier monsoon rain. Southern Bhutan has hot, humid summer and cool winter. Central and eastern Bhutan are temperate and drier than the west with warm summers and cool winters. Biodiversity. The taken is Bhutan's national animal. Bhutan signed the Rio Convention of Biological Diversity on 11 June 1992 and became a party to the convention on 15 August 1995. It has subsequently produced a national biodiversity strategy and action plan with 2 revisions, the most recent of which was received by the convention on 4th February 2010. Himalayan marmot at Tisufu Lake, Bhutan. Bhutan has a rich primate life with rare species such as the golden longa. A variant Assam Makoi has also been recorded, which is regarded by some authorities as a new species. Macaca munjala, the Bengal tiger, clouded leopard, hispid hairy ant, the sold bear, and the sloth bear live in the tropical lowland and hardwood forest in the south. In the temperature zone, grey langur, tiger, goral ant are found in mixed conifer, broadleaf and pine forest. Fruit-bearing trees and bamboo provide habitat for the Himalayan black bear, red panda, squirrel, sambar, wild pig and barking dog. The alpine habitats of the great Himalayan range in the north are become to the snow leopard, blue sheep, Himalayan marmot, Tibetan wolf, Himalayan moose deer, and the taken. Bhutan's national animal, the Ind and great wild whiter buffalo occurs in the southern Bhutan, although in the small number. More than 770 species of birds have been recorded in Bhutan. The globally endangered white has been added recently in 2006 to Bhutan's bird list. More than 5,400 species of plants are found in Bhutan, including Pedicularis secuminidenta. Fungi form a key part of Bhutanese ecosystem. Species providing forest tree with the mineral nutrients necessary for growth, and with wood, decay and litter. Decomposing species playing an important role in natural recycling. Conservation. Bhutan Protected Area location. Protected area of Bhutan in lavender. Biological corridor in green. The Eastern Himalayas has been identified as a global biodiversity hotspots and counted among the 234 globally outstanding ecoregions of the world in a comprehensive analysis of global biodiversity undertaken by WWF between 1995 and 1997. Environmental issues. Himalayan black bear. Although Bhutan's natural heritage is still largely intact, the government has said that its contact cannot be taken for granted and that conservation of the natural environment must be considered. One of the challenges that will needed to be addressed in the years ahead. Nearly 56.3% of all Bhutanese are involved with agriculture, forestry or conservation. The government aims to promote conservation as part of its plan to target gross national happiness. Bhutan has a number of progressive environmental politics that have caused head of the UNFCCC to call it an inspiration and role model for the world on how economics and different countries and address climate change while at the same time improving the life of the citizen. For example, electric cars have been pushed in the country and as of 2014 make up the of all cars because the country gets most of its energy from hydroelectric power. It does not emit significant greenhouse gases for energy production. Bhutan has enforced a plastic ban rule from 1 April 2019 where plastic bags were replaced by alternative bag made of and other biodegradable material. Government and politics. King Jigme, Kaisar Namgyal Wangchung and Queen Consort Jetsan Pema of Bhutan with Naruhito of Japan. Bhutan is a constitutional monarchy with a parliamentary form of government. The reigning monarch is Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk. The current Prime Minister of Bhutan is Lote Tshering, leader of the Druk Yul Tisokpa party. Bhutan's democratic transition in 2008 is seen as an evolution of its social contract with the monarchy since 1907. In 2019, Bhutan was classified in the Democracy Index as a hybrid regime alongside regional neighbors Nepal and Bangladesh. Minorities are increasingly represented in Bhutan's government since 2008, including in the cabinet, parliament and local government. The Druk Yul Dragon King is the head of state. The political system grants universal suffrage. It consists of the National Council, an upper house with 25 elected members, and the National Assembly with 47 elected lawmakers from political parties. Executive power is exercised by the Council of Ministers led by the Prime Minister. Legislative power is vested in both the government and the National Assembly. Judicial power is vested in the court. Political culture. The first general elections for the National Assembly were held on 24 March 2008. The chief contestants were the Bhutan Peace and Prosperity Party (DPT) led by Jigme Thinle and the People's Democratic Party (PDP) led by Sangay Engeduk. The DPT won the election, taking 45 out of 47 seats. Jigme Thinle served as Prime Minister from 2008 to 2013. The People's Democratic Party came to power in the 2013 elections. It owned 32 seats and 54.88% of the vote. PDP leads Tshering Tobgay served as Prime Minister from 2013 to 2018. Druk Yul Tisokpa won the largest number of seats in the 2018 National Assembly election, bringing Lote Tshering to the premiership and Yul Tisokpa into the government for the first time. Foreign relations. In the early 20th century, Bhutan became a de facto protectorate of the British Empire under the Treaty of Punakha. In 1910, British protection guarded Bhutan from an independent Tibet and Qing China. In the aftermath of the Chinese Communist Revolution. Bhutan signed a friendship treaty with the newly independent Dominion of India in 1949. Bhutan joined the United Nations in 1971. It was the first country to recognize Bangladesh independence in 1971. It became a founding member of South Asia Association for Religion Cooperation (SARC) in 1985. The country is a member of 150 international organizations. Bhutan maintained strong economic, strategic, and military relations with India. India and Bhutanese citizens may travel to each other countries without passport or visa, but must still have their national identity card. Bhutanese citizens may also work in India without legal restriction. Bhutan does not have formal diplomatic ties with China, but exchanges of visits at various levels between them have significantly increased in recent times. Bhutan has very warm relations with Japan, which provides significant development assistance. Bhutan has diplomatic relations with 53 countries and the European Union and has mission in India, Bangladesh, Thailand, Kuwait, and Belgium. It has 2 UN missions, one in Newark and one in Geneva. Only India, Bangladesh, and Kuwait have residential embassies in Bhutan. Other countries maintain formal diplomatic contracts via their embassy in New Delhi and Dhaka. Military. A Royal Guards of Bhutan in 1905. The Royal Bhutan Army is Bhutan's military service and is one of the weakest armed forces in the world. According to the Global Firepower Survey, it includes the Royal Bodyguards and the Royal Bhutan Police. It has an annual budget of about $13.7 million, 1.8% of GDP. As a landlocked country, Bhutan has no navy. It also has no air force or army aviation corps. The army relies on the Eastern Air Command of the India Air Force for air assistance. Bhutan is ranked as partly free by Freedom House. Bhutan's parliament decriminalized homosexuality in 2020. Women in Bhutan tend to be less active in politics than men due to customs and aspects of Bhutan's culture that dictate a woman's role in the household. Bhutan also elected its first female Dijongda, equivalent to a district attorney, in 2012, and its first female minister in 2013. Minister Dorji Chowdan, chair for the National Commission for Women and Children, believes that the aforementioned program can be used to promote women into more leadership roles, which can then lead women to take on more active roles in their society. Overall, there has also been a gradual increase in women in power with a 68% increase in women representation from 2011 to 2016. The refugee crisis of the 1990. There is a refugee crisis in Nepal. Members of Bhutanese police and army were accused of burning Elhot Sampa houses, land confiscations, and other widespread human rights abuses including arrest, torture and rape of Elhot Sampas involved in political protest and violence. Following forcible deportation from Bhutan, Elhot Sampas spent almost 2 decades in refugee camps in Nepal and were arrested in various Western countries such as the United States between 2007 and 2012. Economy. The Bhutan Power Corporation headquarters is Thimphu. Bhutan's principal export is hydroelectricity. Bhutan currency is the Nguyen, whose value is fixed to the Indian rupee. The Indian rupee is also accepted as legal tender in the country. Though Bhutan's economy is one of the world's smallest, it has grown rapidly in recent years by 8% in 2005 and 14% in 2006. In 2007, Bhutan had the second fastest growing economy in the world with an annual economic growth rate of 22.4%. This was mainly due to the commissioning of the gigantic Tala hydroelectric power station as of 2012. Bhutan's per capita income was $2,420. Bhutan's economy is based on agriculture, forestry, tourism and the sale of hydroelectric power to India. Agriculture provides the main livelihoods for 55.4% of the population. Agrarian practices consist largely of subsistence farming and animal husbandry. Handicrafts, particularly weaving and the manufacture of deciduous art for home altars, are a small cottage industry. Agriculture. Rice terraces in one of Bhutan's fertile valleys. The share of the agriculture sector in GDP declined from approximately 55% in 1985 to 33% in 2003. In 2013, the government announced the aspiration that Bhutan will become the first country in the world with 100% organic farming industry. The industrial sector accounts for 22% of the economy. The key manufacturing sector in Bhutan include production of ferroalloy, cement, metal poles, iron and non-alloy steel products, graffiti, copper conductors, alcoholic and carbonated beverages, processed fruits, carpets, wood products and furniture, mining, energy. Bhutan has deposits of minerals, numerous minerals. Commercial production includes coal, dolomite, gypsum and limestone, etc. Bhutan's largest export is hydroelectricity. As of 2015, it generates about 2000 megawatt of hydropower from dams in Himalayan river valleys. Financial sector. The Lee Meridian Thimphu is part of Bhutan's bargaining tourism industry. There are 5 commercial banks in the country and the 2 largest banks are the Bank of Bhutan and the Bhutan National Bank, which are based in Thimphu. Tourism. In 2014, Bhutan welcomed 1,33,480 foreign visitors. Bhutan is a highest value destination. It imposes a daily sustainable development fee of $200 a day on all nationals except India's. The country currently has no UNESCO World Heritage Site, but it has 8 declared tentative sites for UNESCO. Inclusion Science 2012. Transport. Air. Paro Airport is the only international airport in Bhutan. Road. The lateral road is Bhutan's primary east-west corridor connecting the towns of Phu and Soling in the southwest, Trasingang in the west. Notable settlements that the lateral road run through directly are Wangdiu, Phodrang and Trongsa. Since 2014, road widening has been a priority across Bhutan. Rail. Although Bhutan currently has no railways, it has entered into an agreement with India to link southern Bhutan to India's vast network by constructing an 18-kilometer long, 11-mile, 5 feet 6 in 1,676 mm broad gauge rail link between Hasimara. Demographic. Bhutan had a population of 7,77,486 people in 2021. Bhutan has a median age of 24.8 years. There are 1,070 males to every 1,000 females. The literacy rate in Bhutan is 59.5%. Ethnic group. Bhutanese people primarily consist of the Ngalofs and Sarsovs, called the Western Bhutanese and Eastern Bhutanese respectively, although the Sarsovs are slightly larger in demographic size. Ngalofs dominated the political sphere, as the king and the political elite belong to this group. Nagalok people, Sarsovs, Lhotshampa, Tibetan people, Bhutia, Lepcha, etc. City and towns. Thimphu, the largest city and capital of Bhutan. Dampu, the administrative headquarters of Sirang district. Jakar, the administrative headquarters of Bumthang district and the place where Buddhism entered Bhutan. Mongar, the eastern commercial hub of the country. Paro, site of the international airport. Pheon Choling, Bhutan's commercial hub. Punakha, the old capital, etc. Religion in Bhutan. Research 2020. Buddhism 84.3%, Hinduism 11.3%, Born 3.2%, Christianity 0.7%, others 0.5%. Languages. The national language is Dzongkha, Bhutanese, one of 53 languages in the Tibetan language family. The script, locally called Choki, literally Dharma language, is identical to classical Tibetan. In Bhutan's education system, English is the medium of instruction, while Dzongkha is taught as the national language. Ethnologue lists 24 languages currently spoken in Bhutan, of all them in the Tibeto-Burman family, except Nepali, an Indo-Aryan language. Health. Bhutan has a life expectancy of 70.2 years, 69.9 for males and 70.5 for females. According to the latest data for 2016 from the World Bank, basic health care in Bhutan is free as provided by the Constitution of Bhutan. Education. Historically, education in Bhutan was monastic, with secular school education for the general population introduced in the 1960s. The mountainous landscape poses barrier to integrated educational services. Today, Bhutan has two decentralized universities with 11 constituent colleges spread across the kingdom. Culture. Bhutan has a rich and unique culture heritage that has largely remained intact because of its isolation from the rest of the world in the mid-20th century. One of the main attractions for tourists is the country's culture and traditions. Bhutanese tradition is deeply steeped in its Buddhist heritage. Bhutan was the first nation in the world to ban tobacco. It was illegal to smoke in public or sell tobacco. According to Tobacco Control Act of Bhutan 2010. Dress. The national dress for Bhutanese men is the gao, a knee-length robe tied at the waist by a cloth belt known as the kira. Women wear an ankle-length dress. The kira, which is clipped at the shoulders with two identical brooches called the koma and tied at the waist with kira. An accompaniment to the kira is a long sleeves blouse, the onju, which is worn underneath the kira, etc. Architecture. Bhutanese architecture remains distinctively traditional, employing rammed earth and wetly and daub construction methods, stone masonry, and intricate woodwork around window and roofs. Traditional architecture use no nails or iron bars in construction. Public holidays. Bhutan has numerous public holidays, most of which coincide with traditional, seasonal, secular or religious festivals. They include the winter solstice, lunar new year, February or March, the king's birthday and the anniversary of his coronation, the official and the of monsoon season, 22 September, National Day, 17 December, and various Bhutanese and Hindu celebration. Film industry. Charm secret masked dances are annually performed during dance dramas and masked dance such as the charm dance are common traditional features and festivals, usually accompanied by traditional music. Family structure. In Bhutanese families, inheritance generally passes matrilineal through the female rather than the male line. Daughters will inherit their parents' house. A man is expected to make his own way in the world and often moves to his wife's home. Cuisine. Traditional dish with lemon glazed chicken, salted spinach and steamed Bhutanese red rice. Sports. Bhutan's national and most popular sports in archery. Competitions are held regularly in most villages. Another traditional sport is the digger, which resembles the shoot put and horseshoe throwing. Another popular sport is basketball. Women in the workforce. Women have begun to participate more in the workforce and their participation is one of the highest in the region. However, the unemployment rates among women are still higher than those of men, and women are in more unsecure work fields such as agriculture. Women's health. Throughout Bhutan, there has been an improvement in reproductive health service that has led to a drastic drop in maternal mortality rate, dropping from 1000 in 1990 to 180 in 2010. There has also been an increase in contraceptives used for less than 1 by 3 in 2003 to 2 by 3 in 2010.